All right, let's be honest for a second. What is more dangerous in the firehouse? Lack of skills or a lack of leadership? Most people spend their careers training for the job, but not really enough time preparing for the moment they're responsible for other people. So today we are going to talk about that. We've got Mike from Front Seat Academy coming on to talk to us all about leadership and maybe the lack thereof, and why it is so important to not just learn how to take an exam, but to also be a leader. So many times people get promoted because they pass the test, but that does not make you a leader. So we're going to break down the fundamentals of that today. So welcome back to Carry On Fire Family. I'm Audra. Very happy to have you here. I am a wee woo wife. Today's episode is a big deal. There are a lot of leadership myths that we're going to bust today. All of it. You know me. I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to have Mike come on and just share a little bit about what is so important about being a good leader and why it is probably the most challenging thing for fire departments right now. Mike is the man behind the Front Seat Academy, where he helps firefighters step into leadership roles with clarity, confidence, and real world readiness. From his website, he says Front Seat Academy exists because the test should never be the reason capable firefighters don't promote. Too often, strong firefighters with real experience are filtered out by a process that rewards memorization over leadership. We believe preparations should reflect the responsibility of the seat, not just the structure of the exam, and I agree. So let's get into it with Mike right now. What is up, Mike? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good. I am so excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Tonight, even because we're recording at night, because we have busy lives here,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I can't do daytime recording very often.
Yeah, it's chaos, I'm sure. All right,
Yeah.
we're just gonna jump in. Okay,
Please.
first question right out the gate. Just what is the difference between someone who has rank and someone people actually follow?
Oh, you're really just jumping right into it.
Uh huh.
Okay.
We're just going for it.
Uh, I think rank is given to you by an organization, but I think your ability to have followers, it cannot be given to you, if that makes sense. It's internal. So I think for us, we use a lot of rank in our organization because we call ourselves a paramilitary organization. But rank is no different than being middle management in a Fortune 500 company or a tech company, right? You still have people under you, but you've been given that rank of manager by someone above you because they believe you have the ability to get something done, a task done, lead people. But even if that is the case, your ability to lead people and people to follow cannot be given to you by an external party or someone above you. It has to come internal. So I don't think rank and being followed as a leader is synonymous. I actually think some of the most influential people that I know don't have rank. But I mean, you're hitting me right off the bat. That's my honest opinion.
No, that's your opinion, yeah, but it's pretty true across the board, I think.
Yeah.
Um, you can have, all the bugles, that doesn't mean shit, It's it's
Right.
it's if people want to follow you and if you can have
Right.
people follow you. It's way
I
more.
think I have a unique definition of leadership, and it's not mine, but I've
Okay.
adopted it from Simon Sinek, who I'm one of his biggest followers.
Mhm.
And to me, leadership in its simplest form is that you're looking to the person to the left of you and you're looking at the person to the right with you, and you're telling them, hey, this is my vision for tomorrow, or this is my vision for the future. And the story that you're telling them, whether it be emotionally or whether it be emotionally, physiologically, whatever it is, whatever story you're telling them is so inspirational that they want to follow you to see you get to that destination. Now that can
Mhm.
translate to profits, that can translate to financials, that can translate to the fireground. But whatever story you're telling is so inspirational that people are like, I want to see you get there and I want to be a part of that process of you getting there. And that's how I really see leadership, regardless of rank.
That I agree with you completely.
I love that.
Okay. Tell me why you started Front Seat Academy.
Frustration.
Oh,
Yeah,
say more.
frustration. So I've been in my organization for almost 15 years. I'm our current union association president of our department, and I had great seniority. I was a truck driver. Uh, I was a I was an engineer. I had a great crew. I was a fireboat pilot. I was comfortable. I was happy. I was in a really, really good spot. And someone asked me if I would consider promoting, and I never thought I'd promote that early. Ultimately, I made the decision to promote. And when I was preparing for the process, I was really unhappy with what I was experiencing. Specifically, access and opportunity seemed to come at a very expensive price. And I also felt like some of the information that I was studying just did not seem like it was the right fit for the mission that I wanted and who my ethos was. And I remember having a conversation with my wife about 6 months in, and I said, "I feel like everything that I'm learning is just old or it's outdated or what's gonna make me different?" And I said, "Okay, I'm gonna do something new," and I branched outside the fire service. I told myself I'm going to stick with the fire service when it comes to the operation side, but everything else, leadership, difficult conversations, interview preparation, role plays, I wanted to get outside the fire service. I wanted nothing to do with the fire service because I felt like one, everybody was studying the same thing, and it seems to be something that's passed down from generation to generation, and there's no room for adaptation and change unless somebody comes up with it. And I said that there has to be a better way. And so I did that. And I was reading entrepreneur books, Ray Dalio, Simon Sinek, Gary Vee. I mean, I was everywhere in the business world because I truly believe our patients or the people we respond to, I look at them through the ends of a customer because that's what we are. They're truly our customers. And so I had a different outlook of it. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with different aspects of leadership, different aspects of growth and mindset. And I took all that and I took it back to the firehouse and I took my test. And when I ended up taking my promotional exam, I scored really, really high and I got number one and I got promoted. And I told myself, okay, clearly there is another way to look at these things and I want to bring it to people. And that was the start of it. And it's been absolutely skyrocketing since. I just got done teaching a class with, a bunch of people all across the country. And just right now before we jumped on the Zoom and I'm in love with it. And I think like I'm in a warm up lap right now. I don't think this is the final version. And I'm just excited for the next chapter.
So you mentioned something about on your website, you said that strong firefighters with real experience are filtered out by a process that rewards memorization over leadership.
Yes.
So basically, what they're testing to really doesn't have anything to do with being a true leader, right?
Yeah, I think there's parts of the exam which are
Hmm.
applicable.
Okay.
But the majority of the promotional process and the way we do things does nothing to do with true leadership, in my opinion. Here's a great example. We highly incentivize hoarding information in the fire service. That is my personal opinion.
Hmm.
We say we're all about giving knowledge passing and sharing and helping each other grow. But we created a process where you are in a competition against your peer to be to get promoted and be a leader in the most important, what we call the most important and most dynamic and most influential position in the fire department, being the officer. And we incentivize you to hoard information, to not study with anybody, to keep things private. I know people that don't study with people because they don't want to share information because we've created this dynamic, and that's not what leadership is, and that's not what a company officer is. But yet we've standardized it in a way where we are setting people up for failure. We're not teaching leadership and promotional prep. We're teaching how to do a role play or how to do a tactical sim. And then we put them in the seat and then we wonder why we're struggling with leadership inside the firehouse. I mean, 99% of our problems occur inside the firehouse.
Hmm.
We do a really good job when the tones go off and we respond to calls. No one really complains about that, but we do a terrible job inside the firehouse. But we don't hit on that. And I think it's a product of how we do the promotional process.
That's interesting. Hmm.
Yeah. And
Okay.
people don't like to hear that. They don't.
Well, no, they want to believe that everything's fine, right?
Yes,
They,
yes, that's exactly what it is. I think the promotional process is a game. It's a finite game. Um, Because you look in life, there's infinite and there's finite games. This is not my idea. This is James Carse and Simons, and they talk about in life there's two types of games. There's finite games and infinite games. Finite games are what you experience every day. Baseball, football, basketball, soccer. There's a start time, there's a finish time. There's points based goals, and then
Mhm.
there's flags, there's penalties, there's end times. It has to be a winner, there has to be a loser, and it's ranked on points. That is what a promotional process is. It's a finite game. If you learn how to play the game, you score well, get promoted. But until the fire service changes that mentality,
Mm,
why are so many good firefighters who deserve to be in the seat not making the seat? And it's simply because they don't know how to play the game of a test that was created to do so.
100%. I
Yeah.
completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to inside the firehouse. Give
Yeah.
me your opinion. What are some early signs that a crew is off?
Silence.
Mm,
I think I was just talking about this, and I was actually going to make a post about this. Like, if you really want to know where you stand with your crew, don't say a word inside the firehouse or inside the cab of that engine or truck in between calls or on the way back from stations or riding through your district. I think I think silence is a big precursor that there's something going on with your crew. And to me, that's the first sign is
mhm,
silence.
mhm.
Because people would rather not work with you or talk to you and work around you and just deal with everything without you. And they're isolating you and they're just getting through the shift. That's a real concern for me as a leader.
What do you think kills performance faster? Bad leadership or bad culture?
I think you can't separate the two.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about performance. My job as a company officer, I have one job. I can sum it up in one job, and I think it's the privilege of promotion, is that my job is to create an environment where firefighters can operate at their very best. That is my job, and that
Mhm,
starts with me fostering a place where they wanna come to work, they wanna be involved in work, they have a well thought out understanding of the why, and they enjoy the process. If you do that, you will make the majority want to do well in work, at work.
mhm,
Now that brings me to my second point. I think the most valuable thing that a company officer can bring to his crew or her crew is energy. The energy you bring in the firehouse will absolutely be reciprocated in in work performance, in
mhm,
deliverable.
mhm,
Right? If you're a company officer that just wants to go into the firehouse, go to their room, watch TV all day, not engage in the public, not engage in training, your crew is either going to adapt to you, that's the first scenario, or they're going to resent you, that's the second scenario, or they're going to follow somebody else in the firehouse, which
hmm,
then begs the question, who's leading that company?
hmm.
Which all in turn creates culture, right? We
Oh,
we may have one culture for a fire department, but every company officer has a culture of their house, and if you're not aligned with the mission of the department, uh, that is gonna be the end result.
huh. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I don't I don't know what you're thinking. I'm curious now.
I can't say, but that's interesting. Yeah, that's a thinker. That's a thinker. Okay.
Here's
Um,
what I will say,
yeah,
and this will sum up exactly I talk about this all the time. I tell people, it's incredibly difficult to understand how incredibly simple it is.
yeah,
It is
yeah.
incredibly simple. I think
Mhm.
the job of leadership is incredibly simple, but
We
we mess
complicate it.
it up
Yeah.
every day.
Mhm.
Every day. We mess it up all the time in the fire. I talk to people every day across the country through Front Seat Academy, and everybody has the same complaints. What's funny is, why haven't we adapted to those we're investing so much money in leadership. Think about it. It's
Mhm.
like the new buzzword. What kind of leader are you? What's your leadership style? Servant leadership, situational leadership, buzzwords, absolutely buzzwords. We're spending so much money on leadership, yet we've never had so many problems inside the firehouse. Just look at the headlines every day. So where's the
Mm.
disconnect? Is
Mhm.
it really window dressing? Because that's what I'm starting to think it is.
Mhm.
We want to talk about it, we want to create change, but ultimately we hate change.
Yeah. Well, we're creating these leaders based on some kind of arbitrary, I don't know, information that doesn't necessarily apply to the culture and expecting the company to adapt, but they don't know what the hell they're adapting to, and they don't even understand the culture. They don't and the leaders don't even know what the
Right.
culture is anymore. And they don't take the time to even get down at their crew's level and talk to them about it because they don't they don't even engage with them. I don't know. It's such a weird, obviously I'm looking at it from a totally different lens than you,
Right. But
but
you have a
it's
but your purview is
mhm.
unique in its own way
Yeah.
because what you see, I don't see.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
give me a different vantage point.
Mhm.
Um, my vantage point is very close. I am right there. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't very often get a 30,000-foot view. I do now as I look at other organizations and talk to different people.
Yeah.
But what I'm finding is what I'm seeing face to face is what I'm also seeing from an elevated platform for everyone else. So there
Yeah.
has to be some change that occurs.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to me too because, I work in corporate, so I
Okay.
see this corporate leadership, we can call it what it is, bullshit every day where it's just like, and they're, giving their kudos and calling out their rock stars and, making it seem like everything's great, right? On the
Mhm,
surface. But
mhm,
then when you get down into each division, there's shit going on here, there's shit going on here, there's, stuff that leadership doesn't know about because we're dealing with it internally down here because we don't want them to know about it because maybe we don't trust them or we know what's
mhm,
going to happen is we're going to tell them there's going to be some kind of, disciplinary action or some kind of new directive and it's like nah. So then you stuff it down, you don't
mhm,
say anything, you wait for it to blow up, and then it becomes an issue at the higher level, and then nothing gets done. And it's this vicious cycle, right? And I don't
right,
know if that's partially, I could probably say that's partially true with departments, right? Because I feel like you said, you said a few minutes ago that there's these buzzwords, this leadership buzzword, right?
mhm,
Everything
mhm.
is a big deal about like being a strong leader and all these things. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, I mean,
It'll come
I
back.
think I know what you're trying to say because I mean, I think of it this way. Right now, if somebody wants to, let's say somebody works in an organization where there is not a strong leadership core,
Yeah.
and let's say it's corporate America, the fire service, whatever it is, and you are a little bit tech savvy. And what's the first
Hmm.
thing you're going to go to ChatGPT? You're going to go to Gemini. You're going to go to a bunch of AI resources. You're going to say, "Hey, what is a really good thing to say about my leadership style?" And you're going to get servant leadership, situational leadership. No one ever picks the one that doesn't sound good. No one ever picks autocratic. It's like side note, which is why I think personality tests are absolute fallacies. I mean,
Oh,
I if you wanna take a personality test, have your spouse or your best friends take it for you.
huh.
Yeah. You wanna know what type of leader I am? I'm not gonna take a leadership test because 'cause I'm not gonna answer the questions the bad way. There is an unconscious bias.
So, okay, have the crew take that test for the leader.
100%.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
there's no
Huh.
possibility of payback or, like, them finding out who said what,
Yeah.
that would be the most insightful way to figure out what type of leader you are and if you're effective and if you're an effective leader. Because when I take, a personality test, I think about these questions and multiple times I'm like, "Ugh, I don't know if I should say that. I circle that one, right? And there's a little bit of unconscious bias.
Yeah.
I get it. Maybe I'm not smart as these tests. I'm sure they probably factor that in, but that's how we're learning leadership today.
Yeah.
We're Googling it, but no one's experiencing it.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Okay, so how do you prepare somebody for being a good leader?
I think there's a couple things. Now, and are we talking about just the fire service? Because that's
Yeah,
really where my forte is.
let's go fire
Um,
service because
fire
this is a
service.
fire podcast. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a fire podcast. Um, I think there's a couple things you can do. I think it's really hard to incentivize someone up here. So I think we have to stop focusing on the current officers in the Corps, if that makes sense. Let's say
Okay.
you're a company officer and I'm a company officer.
Yeah.
And I believe that the way you lead your company is not effective. And I
Okay.
think you're just not a really good leader. It is going to be incredibly difficult for me to change you,
Yeah.
to change who you are, what you believe, especially if in your mind I'm already an officer. Like I have 5 years left. Like I've been doing it. I've never had an issue. I've had no HR complaints. Like I'm good. It's incredibly hard for me to change you.
Yeah.
most change that occurs from at that level comes from fear of discipline. You messed up, you're getting a PIP, or you're getting some type of discipline coming at you. So you're fearful. It's almost like someone who is I court someone who goes on a crash diet after a medical health scare. Prior to that scare, they thought everything was status quo. They're good. Normalization of deviance are fine. So I think the first thing we have to stop doing is focusing on the current core of officers. I think we have to start thinking about the next generation coming up because
Mm,
there is an incentive on their end to promote. There is an incentive for them to get to that next level. And while there's an incentive or a carrot at the end of it, they are more pliable to learning. So I think we have to start
mm,
focusing on that generation. Because right now, when you go to a leadership class, I feel
yeah.
like it's a leadership class of officers like I go, but we're not getting a lot of young firefighters, in my opinion, where that's the main focus. The main focus
Mm,
seems to be like, okay, you're already an officer. Let's talk about leadership. We need to start focusing. Okay, you're a firefighter. You've been in for 10 years. I want to start talking with you about leadership. So when you get to 15, 16 years, you have a stronger foundation.
mm. What okay, and this is opinion again, what do you
Yeah.
think the best, like, longevity-wise, where would you say is kind of like the key to start considering leadership roles?
I would say immediately off probation.
Really?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Say more. Tell me why.
Well, I mean, let's talk about every job in the fire service is temporary. It's
Mhm.
built on succession planning. So whether you're a probationary firefighter or you're a 10-year firefighter, everything is temporary. But what's the cycle? You come off probation, okay? I mean, you go through probation, you come off probation, and what typically happens? They assign you a probationary firefighter. And right then and there, you're in an informal leadership role right at that very exact moment. And that is the start of it. You start to
Hmm,
teach somebody, and here's the best part. A lot of a lot of people come off probation who are firefighters. I shouldn't be a probationary fire. I shouldn't be teaching this probationary firefighter. I just got off probation. That's no different than leadership. I'm a brand new company officer, right? I'm being put in a position of growth. So are those firefighters. We should be starting leadership conversations the moment they're put in a position of informal leadership. Because whether you're teaching a probationary firefighter or you're teaching a 15-year firefighter, leadership is just leadership. How
true.
it's about you creating an environment. I think
Hmm,
we're behind on it because we've always felt like we don't need it.
yeah, that's interesting.
It's very interesting. Let's look at your when would in your industry,
Mhm,
when would you start talking about leadership?
that's tough.
Who leads the office? Let's say you have an office with some type of middle management position. If the middle manager isn't strong, who
Yeah.
leads the office?
We do. I do. The
But
chaotic ones do it. No,
someone has to. Someone will fill
yeah,
the vacuum.
yeah. No, I get what you're saying for sure. I mean, I think it's very interesting because I mean, you make a valid point. It's like you put them through all this training and then you kind of just have them sit back and you tell them, "No, no, no, you're not supposed to lead."
Right.
But everybody in some way should be leading something, right?
Right.
Um,
Right, you go through probation. Yo, you
yeah.
have 2 ears, 1 mouth. You're don't speak too much, quiet at the dinner
Mhm.
table, just listen, listen, listen. Okay, you're immediately off probation. Hey, here's a probationary firefighter, go ahead and lead them. Are you gonna
Yep.
lead them the exact same way you were led?
Yeah.
And then the cycle just continues and continues, and by the time they want, "Oh, okay, I've been a firefighter for 5 years, I'm ready to promote." Well, what leadership classes do they make you go to when you wanna promote? Not in California, you take, like, 5 classes that are completely they're they're irrelevant to say
Yeah.
the least
Yeah. It's all
to
technical.
leadership.
Yeah.
But then you put you in the seat, we make you lead people in one of the most inherently dangerous positions, not only in the fire service, but let's say in any profession, and then we expect you just to know what to do?
Mhm.
It's wild.
Hmm. Yeah. It's mind-blowing to me, actually. Okay, so teach them right when they come out, and then what? Say you've got a rookie. He's almost done with probation, right?
Mhm,
And he's thinking, what's next for me? I'm off probation.
mhm,
I can shed some of my snake skin, right? I can be myself kind of.
mhm, mhm.
Um, where do you take them? What's the next step
I
for them?
I don't take them anywhere.
It's their decision?
It's their decision. My job is not to motivate anybody in that sense. And I don't mean that to sound rude.
No,
I
no.
think motivation has to come internal.
I believe yes, I completely agree with you, 100%.
The goal is that I've done my job as a company officer or a
Yeah.
senior firefighter to motivate you, to make you understand the why of why we do what we do, and to make you feel like I can't wait to come to work tomorrow and learn this.
So do you think that motivation is missing right now?
Yes.
Yeah, and
And
it's coming from
I'm not saying
n
all
no,
I
yeah.
can't speak for all departments. I mean, I love
Yeah,
my department. I think I have a great
in
dynamic, but what
general.
I've learned in total, because
Mhm,
let's just talk about the job for 1 second. Let's say I'm a
mhm,
company officer on a rig, and I go to and I have a firefighter who I've had on my rig for 6 months, okay, but they're still on probation.
mhm,
But after 6 months,
mhm.
you kinda have an idea of where everybody's at. You hopefully you've had some training time with them. You've gotten to know them, you've built some type of relationship, okay? I tell my firefighter, it is inherently difficult for me to do my job and for you to do your job. It's inherently difficult, especially in a high stressful environment where everything is pixelated and I'm trying to figure out everything that's going on at the same time in seconds. It's
Yeah,
not my job to tell you what line to pull, how to pull it, where you're going to wrap it around cars, how to get to the front door. My expectation is that I'm just going to tell you I need a line to the door and you're going to work through the problem and be a thinking firefighter, right?
yep, yep,
That is where the why starts. That's where empowerment starts. To me, that is the foundation of somebody who then becomes a senior firefighter and starts giving the why to somebody else. And then that exponentially grows to the senior firefighter who wants to promote and is now searching for that why, and it becomes a thinking officer. We have to start training people to be thinking officers, thinking firefighters, and not just memorization officers or memorization. I don't know if that's the right word, but if I was always taught to memorize and wait to be told, when it comes promotion time, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to memorize and then wait to be told.
yeah,
You have to go out and search it.
yeah. Because when you're on the fire grounds, you can't really wait to be told, right? Like, what happens when you hesitate for too long?
Yeah, we have not making a decision is just as bad as if
Yeah,
not worse than making the wrong decision.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but I want that thinking fire.
So what's your approach to Front Seat Academy? How do you super motivated firefighter comes in and they're ready to, take the next step. What's your approach to them when they come to you?
The first thing I liked, so I don't do any one-on-one mentorship because it's just incredibly difficult for me to
Mm,
do. There's just so many people.
mhm.
But I like to have a personal phone call with everyone that signs up, if I
Okay.
can. If I
Mm,
can capture them, I do, and I pretty much capture 75 to 80% of everybody who signs up because I want to hear their story. I want to know what is on their mind. 99.99% of them have the same exact story. Difficulties in taking the test. They want to promote. They're tired of the system and they feel like it's transactional. They feel like information is hard to come by. And you can be a firefighter who, has really been absent their entire career, but know how to take the test, get promoted, and it just destroys these people. So I have a
mhm,
personal phone call with them because I want them to know that I'm not a chatbot on the other side of this social media post. Like I'm a real person and I
mhm.
talk to them. And you won't believe, but sometimes these conversations last an hour and 20 minutes. And sometimes I tell them, this course is not for you. That's not what you're looking for. Don't buy it multiple times. And they still buy it. And I tell them not to, and you can record this and send it out when we send out those. I tell them this, I wanna know what your test is like because I don't want you to pay for something, although I think it's very affordable. I don't want you to pay for something that you're not gonna use. It's
Yeah.
not gonna work for me. But we end up just talking about life and about leadership and about their families and that's what's been the most impactful thing. But that is how it starts. It starts with a phone call. And then once that phone call is complete, I actually let them access the course. I say, take a look at the course. Here's 24 hours. Here's 72 hours. I get it. You're on a shift. Go through all of it. I'm not worried. At the end of it, if you like it, great. If you don't like it, let me know how I can make it better. And let me see if I can do something for you on the other end, or build something different. Some people don't buy it. The majority do. And that's how it starts. And They go through the program, and I was still unhappy with that just being the end product. So now we do monthly workshop webinars for free,
Mm,
where it's just like a big Zoom. I get 30 or 40 people. Tonight, I think I had like 50 people, and I do a little bit of lecturing on the course, and then I allow them to communicate with each other. I create a role play. Like tonight was difficult conversations. So I did some lecturing, and then I would create a scenario for them, and they would role play with each other just to give them sets and reps because we just don't do enough of it.
yeah.
And that's really and so I'm trying to create I'm really just trying I wanna change the game. I wanna bridge the gap between the test and the seat. I think it's very possible. We've done it opposite this whole time, but I think I found a way for you can prepare for the seat and study for the test at the same time and be highly successful.
If you could, how would you change the test?
This is one of my favorite questions. This is one of my favorite questions. Okay, you asked for it.
Yeah.
The first thing is I would make the interview process to have some type of peer review first.
Okay. Love that.
So when you become a brand new firefighter, your first interview is typically with a panel of firefighters.
Mhm.
And it's a totally different interview. It's an interview like, do I like this person? Is this person going to get along with the firehouse? Is someone who's going to be likable? Is their family going to be likable? I'm going to bring my family around this person, someone I can hang out with after a call. Why don't we do that for the company officer rank? Why don't we don't do that? And so that would be the first thing I would want to do. The second thing I'd want to do is I'd want to get rid of like third party testing because I feel like third party testing is a catch all. It's safe, but let's say you've been in your company for 10 years and your body of work in those 10 years is an absolute 10. Absolute 10. The classes you've put on, the leadership you've developed, the project you've worked on, but yet we go to a promotional process, they strip you of your name, they call you candidate A, you can't talk about your body of work, and they test you on something that you're never gonna see in the seat.
Mhm. Mhm.
I just think it's wild that we do that. Like, your
Mm.
body of work should matter because that's what's gonna tell them what kinda officer you're gonna be and what kinda leader you're gonna be and who you're gonna inspire and what kinda change you're gonna create, but
Mhm.
we don't do that. And the third thing I would change is I'd make it a lot harder to be an officer. Now, I know this is incredibly challenging with different department sizes, but making temporary time in the seat mandatory before promoting. The first time you sit in the seat should not be after you're promoted with people behind you waiting for you to make a decision. You should have experience in the seat, and so require it. So uh, if your department has a truck and an engine, you should spend some time on the truck and on the engine. You're gonna be leading people on that truck and on that engine.
Mhm.
So I think we have to put there has to be some more viability in, and we have to be okay with telling people you need to do a little bit more before you get ready. But I feel like we've just become so timid and so scared to create these rules because we're worried about the backlash or someone being upset. We're just afraid of that friction. So
Mhm.
I think if we start doing that stuff and we start having more of these conversations, we're going to create change. It's not going to be in the next 5 years. It's got to be in the next generation coming up. But that would be some of my goals.
We gotta get this next generation to move it, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what okay. Why do you think some really good firefighters struggle with leadership roles?
Why do I think that some really good firefighters struggle with leadership roles? So let me ask you, what do you define to be a good firefighter?
Well, that's a good question, actually.
Yeah,
What would you define a great
I know.
firefighter
I
as?
asked you for. Okay,
You like how I,
I asked
like, tried to
you.
spin that?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, to me, a good firefighter is, kinda like what
What do
you've
you
been
care
saying.
about? Not as a
Mhm.
person who is a spouse of a firefighter. You're a citizen.
Yeah.
What matters to you most about being a firefighter? Like, what
Oh,
matters to you most about, like,
yeah.
someone coming in your home? What do you think?
You said it earlier, customer service is huge, right?
Mhm,
I don't want you to come in, with an attitude. I don't want you to
mhm,
come in, with any hostility. Um, care, compassion, um, and obviously helping me,
right, right.
right? So I think, a great when you say great, great can be
Yeah,
many
sure.
things, but I think,
Yeah,
a good firefighter is really somebody who embraces their crew, um, shows that they want to work, they want to be there, um, that maybe leads in their position. Um,
It's really
and
hard for you to not define leadership right now because everything you're saying
mhm.
is what I would exactly define as a strong leader. So what's the disconnect?
Uh, it's a really good question, honestly. I don't know. Like what is the deal with these firefighters when they do promote and they turn into shitty leaders? I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. Like they acted great, they were great as firefighters, and then they bump up and they get is it they get comfortable, they get complacent, they just don't care anymore, or something at the top went down and they don't want to be there anymore, but you can't really turn your badge back in. I don't know. Like where is the struggle with these roles? And
Yes.
why do some of them have such a hard time with it?
I think there's a couple things. I don't have the full answer, and I'm still very young in my journey to have the answer, but things I've realized that not everybody's meant to be a leader. I think
Yeah.
everybody likes the idea, likes the bravado, likes the prestige of knowing I'm an officer or I'm a manager or I'm a senior partner. Um, but remember, everything up to get to that point is is driven by the individual.
Mhm.
It's personally incentivized. Everything you do up until you're an officer is for you. You wanna do truck training, driver training, you wanna become like, it's personally incentivized. It's rare and think about your evaluations that we give firefighters. We give firefighters individual evaluations monthly, yearly, whatever it is. Do we ever give the crew evaluations, like, together? So everything we've done is based on the individual.
Yeah.
When we put them in a promotional role where they are a leader, where they're no longer about the individual, they need to be about the company, and a lot of people just fail at that.
Hmm.
So I think some people, are not good leaders. They're just not meant to be leaders. Their personalities don't allow for it. I think another reason is institutional trauma, and not institutional trauma in the traditional sense where you feel like where you just where you feel like this hate for where you work. But I think institutional trauma where what you see and what you've been exposed to has now become a part of your DNA.
Mm.
So if your department or your seniors who you've worked with for a long time, if that's what you're seeing, that's what you're going to eventually portray because you don't know any better. And if you're not maintaining a growth mindset and you're not reaching outside of that company or outside the fire service to find out more answers, right? Then you're just going to adapt to what it's always been. We keep saying that we are a fire department that's constantly changing. What we do, we respond to this, we respond to that. We never used to do this, we never used to do that. Now we do this, now we do that. We are constantly evolving our training. Now our big hype is EV fires and lithium ion batteries, and the training is now robust and it's huge and it's massive. We're adapting everywhere else, but what we're not adapting is inside the firehouse.
Mhm.
And because it's a normalization of deviance, right? It's always been this way. We always call our probies probie. We always have 18-month probations, right? We always promote this way. Um, I took a so I took a class recently, and the instructor was talking about generational changes in the
Mhm.
firehouse. I'm 37, so I understand where I am in the hierarchy of generations and what I believe. But I've taken a real passion to learn about different generations because it's incredibly difficult for someone who is retired to teach me, who's an officer, how to deal with a 23-year-old new employee. The only way that you can experience that and tell me how to do it is on books that you've read
Mhm.
or on experiences that people have told you. I'm living it every day, so my experience is way different. And so where I work, I'm not competing with jobs with other fire departments for employees. So when someone, I'm not like let me go back. We were talking about recruitment, and where I work, I'm not competing with other fire departments when recruiting. I'm not doing it. I'm competing with Google, with Apple, with Meta, whatever. That's who I'm competing with, right?
Mhm.
And especially now in the age of AI, where the job market is so different because of all these jobs coming, or that are coming offline, and people are trying to look for stability. It's a different type of recruitment effort. And we were talking about the newest generation that's coming in and how to empower the newest generation. And the person speaking said something like coffee, dishes, and flags. That's where you start with them. Start them with empowerment. And I kind of looked around the room and I'm like, what?
Mhm.
How do you those are just chores. Let's call them what they are. They're chores. They need to get done, There's a hierarchy in the fire service. You pay your dues, you do your chores as a thank you for the opportunity to be in here, but let's call it what it is. They're chores. There's
Mhm.
nothing empowering about loading a dishwasher. There's nothing empowering about being the first to the kitchen sink. Those are just chores. You want to empower a generation that cares about being a part of something great, cares about being a part of a family, cares about being something that creates change, then empower them. Take them out to the engine, say, this is the hose. You are the firefighter. You're the nozzle. You own the hose. I only make the fire room if you know how to stretch this, pull it, move it, and get to the fire room. This is yours. You own it. It's yours until you become an engineer. That's empowerment. Make them feel like they're a part of something bigger than just dishes, flags, and coffee.
I love that. I love that.
That's the issue. That's what I'm facing is just because that's the dynamic. I wanna
Yeah,
start learning more about people who are in the position dealing with the younger generation
yeah,
versus people who are reading about it or hearing about it and then teaching people how to deal with it.
yeah, yeah, that's fascinating. No, that's yeah, I we could go on for that for a while. I could talk to you about that all day.
Yeah, yeah, we can talk off record, yeah.
Mhm. Okay. What would you say to a spouse whose firefighter is thinking about promoting? Because I know like this is, and I'm sure your spouse is, well, I can't say, but
By the way, my spouse loves your page, by the way.
hi spouse, thank you.
She
I would
my
say like 90% of my DMs are my husband partner wants to promote. What should I do? And I'm like, what do you mean? What should I do? Like, you don't get a choice, do you? Like, do I get a say in this? I don't know. But I think it's more of like, what is the expectation? What is my expectation? What should I expect?
expect
Because
like after promotion or leading up to promotion?
during, after, two big things, like, you know, I don't think spouses fully grasp how much
Right,
time, effort, um, ability it takes for
promoting.
somebody to promote, right?
Yeah,
Because it's much more than just taking the test or learning the test. There's
right.
so much more behind it. What would you say, like, what advice would you give to a spouse?
Give grace. So I can under it can I think it's actually really difficult for a spouse to tag
Yeah.
along with the process because it's not a two-lane highway, it's a highway and a bike path, and unfortunately, the spouse becomes the bike path. And here's why. I'm already away from my wife a heavy majority of the year. I mean, I'm about to start a 72 tomorrow, right? And I know what that does to her.
Mhm.
So let's say you as a spouse are sacrificing for years and years. Mando schedules as a paramedic, especially Mando here, Mando there, missing this, missing that. And now it's like year 8 and you're like, whew. And then it's like it's been a lot. It's been difficult. A lot of difficult conversations. And then your spouse goes, I want to promote. I'm gonna take the next exam. And typically when people decide to promote, they rush it.
Mhm.
They know they have like 4 months left, and for 4 months, they go absolutely insane, and they
Mhm.
don't and so now on top of you being gone for the last 8 years and the difficulties and the adapting, instead of a process in which you can just continue on that course, with little change and potentially get promoted with a process that works, we have to now play this game. They move into like a 4 month, 5 month, 6 month hardcore study session. They're up late, they're waking up early, they're putting in time, they're going to classes. I got to get these classes in. And we just exponentially burden our spouses with that time. I think it's incredibly difficult. And we've created a process where it's like you're training for the Super Bowl or you're training for the World Series. We are competing against our peers. We have to score top 3 to get interviewed, or I'm not going to get this job. And I'm going to sit on this list for 2 years and I'm going to die and I have to redo it over and over again. We have absolutely butchered the process. And I've never thought about it, but no one really feels the impact on the spouses.
No.
So I think people promoting have to have a hard conversation early with their spouses. Like, this is the way this process set up. I hate it, but this is what the commitment's going to take.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
That's great
and-
advice,
yeah.
truly.
And I think the spouses are going to have to give, I think the spouse is going to have to give the firefighters some grace because they're playing a game which they are being set up for failure on.
Yeah. I
But
get that a lot too. It's like, you know, my firefighter did not get on the list.
right.
And now I resent the department and I hate this job. And why did they do this to him? And
Or
he
they get
deserves it.
skipped on the list, right? Or they get skipped.
Or they get passed over. Yep.
Right, and they
Mm-hmm.
put all this time. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
partly our fault, right? Instead of setting a year out because we don't wanna pre-plan this, we wait 6 months out, 4 months out. We hit it hard because we're in the memorization of the leadership. It's the cycle.
Yeah.
Um, that's a problem, and there is an impact on Scott. It's incredibly and it's defeating, right? You get on this list, you get passed up, or you never make it, and you gotta do the whole cycle over and over again.
Yep.
Big impact.
It's brutal. It's brutal. I've
Yeah,
been there
yeah,
a few
big impact.
times. I don't want to do it
Which
anymore.
is
Okay.
why Which is why I started this. I believe in the firefighter more than I believe in the process. I absolutely know the process is broken. I
Yeah.
admit it. And that's why I do this because I want those people that have sat on that list or that don't pass the test to call me and I'll tell them why I do this program. And I'll tell them there's an individual behind there that understands that and knows what the impacts are. And that's why I've created this program. I hate teaching this. I love talking about leadership. I hate teaching promotional prep because I feel like I'm cheating the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
But until the system changes, I'm gonna teach it the same way.
Was it 100 years of progress impeded by tradition?
It feels like it's a lot more than that. Honestly, honestly.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire. Okay.
Rapid fire. Biggest leader biggest leadership mistake you've made?
I spoke too early.
Yeah. Something people think leadership is, but it's not. I think we've talked about that already, but what's your
I think that leadership is authority.
hardest part of leading nobody talks about?
Man, the isolation.
Ooh. Wait, say more.
I mean, I deal with this. I was dealing with today. Sometimes you feel so isolated. Now, I'm not talking about isolated like in the firehouse. I think
Yeah.
as a good leader, no, I love saying this, and I don't know if I invented this saying or I picked it up somewhere, but no one follows a ghost. And in the firehouse, you have to be present with your crew, whether it's morning chats in the app bay, or it's maybe your crew like cigars in the evening. You don't have to smoke; just get out there on those rolly chairs and just hang out with them. No one follows a ghost. That's where the firehouse culture and your leadership and your trust is all built.
Hmm.
But so I'm not talking about that isolation, but sometimes decisions that you make, you feel incredibly isolated in that decision.
Mhm.
Today, no joke, I called like 5 other officers that I respect because I was internally struggling with a decision. And I felt like making this decision, I was going to isolate myself. But deep down inside, I knew I had to make that decision. So it's incredibly difficult sometimes, and you don't realize how isolating it could be. You just feel like no one's gonna understand why you have to make this decision, but you know it's the right decision to make.
Hmm. Okay, one trait every great officer has.
Empathy.
Hmm. Okay, last one. And I ask everybody this. What legacy do you want to leave behind?
I don't want a legacy.
You don't want a legacy? I mean, your
Nope.
legacy is kind of building this. And to be honest with you, I'm going to say what I would want your legacy to be was to change the freaking way testing is done.
I think that's the goal. I don't want a
Yes.
legacy. Here's why.
No, yeah, tell me.
I can't tell you a name outside of a handful of firefighters. Okay. When you're trying to create a legacy, I feel like you sacrifice a lot.
Mm,
You do.
yeah.
You may sacrifice your personal friends, you may sacrifice your loved ones because you are so hyper focused and hyper vigilant on creating that legacy. You're consciously trying to create it. Like, I want to make a name for my consciously try to do it. You can't do everything at 100%. So everything else is gonna suffer. Outside of a few names in my department, and you could probably ask your husband it, I want him to tell you a name of another firefighter outside of a handful of names that everybody talks about from 50 years ago, 60 years ago.
Hmm.
Nobody knows their names.
Hmm.
Every seat is temporary and it's borrowed. I am here for a season. That's all I am. I am here for a season. I'm here for a 30-year season. My job is to make that seat a little bit better, honor it, have a good career, make some good memories, impact some lives, and then I'm going to retire. And nobody's going to know my name in 2075
Hmm.
unless something tragic happens, and knock on wood, hopefully it never happens, right? If I wanna create a legacy, I that I don't want that. If a legacy happens as a result of some impact I've created on its own, I welcome that, but I never
Hmm.
wanna be the driving force to that because I'm humbled that this seat is just temporary, And the people who chase a legacy, they're gonna sacrifice somewhere else.
I love that. Damn, Mike. Shit.
You hit me with the Family Feud rapid fire right there. That was good.
Damn, that was good.
Yeah.
That was really good. Any last thoughts?
No, I think what you're doing is incredible, by the way, on a side
Thank
note.
you. Thank you. I'm here
Um,
for the spouses, honestly. It's my husband's been doing this for a really long time, and if I can help one family,
maybe
that's
you
what I
can
always
help me
say.
because I get it wrong all the time. And I
We got it wrong a
feel
million times.
and yeah, and I feel like I try, and I admit, like, it is sometimes we forget how incredibly difficult this job is on our spouses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is tough.
Yeah.
And I do feel like and I've been to some conferences lately where there is a specific now spouse portion of the conference, which I think
I love
is
this.
amazing. Yeah,
Mhm.
have you heard of those?
No. I mean,
No.
I've talked to 2 people today that said they're bringing some kind of spouse portion into, um, not conferences, but, into, oh my god. See, this is what happens when we record late at night. My brain goes
Yeah.
poo. Um, they're bringing a specific spouse portion into some of the academies.
Oh, wow. I've never
Yeah,
heard that. I
yeah.
do know of the conferences. The first one I experienced is, firemanship with Cody. He is I think the founder of Brothers in Battle. And so
Uh-huh.
at his conference, I believe there's like a spouse track. So firefighters can bring their spouses and then their spouses do a spouse track
Yeah.
and a couple classes, guest speakers, lecturers, and
Oh my
it's
god,
pretty
send me
cool. And
that.
I've
That's
seen a
so
couple
cool.
places. So yeah.
Who teaches it on the spouse side?
I think well, so the way the normal structure of a conference, different lecturers, different guest
Yeah.
speakers, I think they
Mhm.
do the same thing.
Huh.
They reach out and try to get people, and so when we get offline, I'll forward you
Yeah.
who he is, but they do it every year.
That's fascinating. Is it local?
It was in Oregon, now it's
Okay.
in Chicago,
Okay. Okay.
or right just outside Chicago.
Um, okay, if people wanna get more information on Front Seat Academy, where would they go?
Social media, Front Seat Academy underscore official. I don't know who has Front Seat Academy. I can't find that page. But Front Seat Academy underscore official. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or frontseatacademy.com. I actually have all my contact information, including my phone number on Instagram. Just text me. I've been more than willing to. I know it's a dangerous game,
Giving out
but
your cells,
I
crazy.
do. It's a dangerous game. Um, but I just feel like it's important. We're losing so much human connection and everything's transactional. And
Yep.
if I can impact one person, it's worth the 800 spam calls.
I was literally just having that conversation. I did a mentor training, right before this recording, and we were just
Uh-huh.
talking about how, the human connection is so needed, and just hiding behind some of these creators that just hide behind memes and posts all day. I'm like, "Oh my
Right.
god, I don't even know if you're
We,
human."
we
Like,
we've created this. I mean,
totally.
when you needed advice,
Mhm.
what would you do back in the day?
I would call someone. What do you mean?
Right.
Like,
If I need advice now, I go to ChatGPT.
ugh,
But
no,
it's
that's
so easy. Hey,
I know.
what's this mole on my hand? ChatGPT. Hey, I'm starting an LLC. What are the things I need? Versus calling, hey, I'm having difficult it's we've created this environment where we need instant gratification, instant knowledge, and we're losing connection with people.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and I'm so old school. I'm like, ew. Chat. I use ChatGPT. I'm not gonna lie. I use
Yeah,
it
I mean it's a
begrudgingly
great
for.
tool.
Yeah, it is a great tool when used appropriately. But for my whole life, nah. No, thank you. I'm good.
Yeah.
I like talking to people, and I think um problems would be solved if we were human again instead of keyboard worrying all day.
Right. Right. That's so
um.
true.
Okay, Front Seat Academy. Thank you, Mike. You are amazing. I just honestly, I mean, you're pretty young, like compared to me. So I think you have so much time to mold it into something amazing. I think it's already pretty amazing. My husband loves your stuff. He's like,
Uh,
"Oh my god, you're gonna have Front Seat Academy on. That's so cool." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm about to call him in here and tell him to say hi.
yeah.
But I think what you're doing is amazing, and
Thank you.
you have really nailed some key information that should be shared at the leadership level that shit really does need to change, especially when it comes to the testing and well, not just the testing, but just leadership and as a whole. Really, there's
Yeah.
so much goodness that you are teaching people. So,
Thank you.
and I hear that your program is wildly successful. So you're obviously doing something right,
That has been the best part is people who every day I get a text, I scored number 1 or I got promoted, but they're asking to stay in the program.
which is
That is the
so
coolest
cool.
part because 'cause they're like, "I
Hmm.
can use this still as" like, I developed this "You're gonna like this, and I'm gonna include you, but I am working with another captain, and when this comes out" I told him the other day, "I'm gonna manifest it, and I'm gonna put the flyer before the course is done, but we are building a course
Hmm.
called" I wanted to call it "How to Have Difficult Conversations."
Yeah.
And he has decided to name it "How to Have Meaningful Conversations."
Hmm.
And that's gonna be a part of the course as well, and so now I'm manifesting it here. When he sees this podcast, he's gonna know that he has to get on it with me and do it, but I'm excited where it goes. Like I said, this is just a warm-up lap. I don't, It's just a warm-up lap.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see where it goes, honestly, because
Me
you've got
too.
some great
Me too.
stuff.
Me too.
Well, thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.